Hey everyone, welcome back to the Dev Lab. In this tutorial, we're going to explore JavaScript file system methods. This is a key part of Node.js that allows you to interact with the system's files and directories. So you learn how to create, read, write, and manipulate files all using simple code examples. So let's dive right in. Let me create a file for that. So imagine you're building a web app where users leave their feedback. So for that, you need to save this feedback into a file. So here's how you can use this write file sync. So let me just first of all, we're going to be calling our file system fs. So we're going to be requiring it. So yeah, so we'll call our file system. So write so feedback.txt. Then another one. So user says great app. So let me just put this in another extra code. So exclamation mark. So the file, this part right over here is writing to the file feedback.txt because we're going to be creating a file for that. So if the file doesn't exist, it gets created on its own. So we don't need to go over here to create a file because we've already told it to create a file for us if it does not exist. So if this file, let's say if this file was already created, the file will become overwritten with the new content. So let's console that. So let's write the message which will display in our console. So let's use emojis to make it more unique. Yeah, so let's say feedback saved successfully. So let's try that. Let's console that. So I'll control J. So let's wait for that to load. So node scripts address. Yeah, so as you can see, it just created a file on its own saying user says great app. Okay, so let's try creating a file by itself. So let's just delete this because if it's already created, it will overwrite it. So let's just try that. So let's say that this thing was already overwritten. So let me just create feedback.text. So let's try that again to see what happens. Feedback.text. So like you not write anything here, you just wrote it for us. So whether the file is already created or whether the file is not created, as long as he's saying it's just putting the text that the user said. So yeah, that's just for writing file. So next one we're going to be doing is reading file. So imagine, so now let's say you want to read the feedback from the feedback.txt from the feedback file you just wrote. So let's say you want to read it on your terminal. So we're just going to be creating a variable con content. So it's going to be in the content and your fs dot read file because this time we're going to be reading it. So we're going to be calling in our text UTF-8. So yeah, so that is it. So this file system the read file sync is just reading the file feedback.txt and output this content to the console. And this UTF-8, for those of you who don't know what this is just for like is encoding. That's the word, is encoding. So it just ensures that the file is read as text, not raw data. So let's console log this. So let's use an emoji. I love using emojis just to like give more information about it. So let's use something like documents. Yeah, so file content. File content. So you're now going to be calling in the contents that we wrote, which is this one, this feedback.txt. So let's try that again. So as you can see, it just showed us on our terminal what's the content, what is inside the content, which is this one, user sees greet app. So yeah, that's for reading file. So let's try another way. So what if a new user submits their feedback and you want to add their comment to the same file instead of overwriting it all over again? So that's where this append file sync comes in. So let's try appending it. We know what append is. We're just calling our feedback dot text, then this slash n. This slash n, what it just does is for to show make sure that it starts at the beginning. It just makes sure that at the beginning the slash n at the beginning, make sure that the new feedback is on a new line. So let's the new message. So what is going, let's try something like add dark mode. Yeah. So the user is just like the comments that the user is telling us just to add dark mode, maybe in a website or something. So let's try this. So let's console log this. Let's add another emoji. So let's say something like add, because we're adding. Yeah. So the feedback updated. So yeah. So this let me just say it again. This append file sync appends the new feedback to the existing content in feedback.txt. So yeah, the feedback has just been updated. Yeah, as you can see. So yeah, it works. So yeah, that's it. So guys, as you can see, this slash n did not come on a new line. So let me just try. Let me see why that didn't work. Okay, yeah. So this slash is not meant to be like this. Meant to go the other way. Coming guys. So that's not the slash for it. So okay. Yes, yeah. So that's the slash. So now let's try that again. Let me remove this line so it will work again. So it's going to show us on a new line. Yeah, as you can see, new message, add dark mode. So yeah, that's it. Sorry for the interruption. So the next one we're going to be doing is creating a folder. Okay, yeah. So next, let's create a folder to store all these feedback files. So we'll be using mk directory. So let's dive right in. So if it's not strictly file system dot exit sync, yeah, then logs. Let's just call it logs. Then mkdir sync. Yeah, so that's it. Then console log. Let's add another emoji. So what will be okay? File folder. Yeah. I really love these emojis. It just makes it more professional. You understand? So logs folder created created. So as you can see, it just created the file for us. Yeah. So that's it. So this mkdir sync, it just creates a new directory, which is a folder called logs, as you can see here. So the code first checks if the directory already exists with this file system exit sync, and if not, it creates it. So what I'm not trying to say here is that if this logs folder already exists, that you should not worry since it already exists. But if it does not, just create the folder. So let's put it inside. Yeah, move. Okay, so yeah, now it's inside it. Okay, so let's try another one. So let's say you want to see all the files inside the logs directory to ensure your feedback files are there. So let's use read directory. So this time we're not reading file. This time we're reading directory, which is folder. We're reading the folder. So let's create this one. Yeah, so const files. We're going to be calling it files. So equals to file system dot read directory. So dot slash, okay, no, dot slash, yeah, so dot slash logs. So let's console log. So console log. So let's use an emoji. So documents again. No folder. Yeah, so files in logs folder. So we're going to be calling in the file. So let's So before we test this out, so this file system read directory sync list all the files inside the logs directory, which is this folder over here. So it returns an array of file names which you can log or process further. Yeah, as you can see, it just brought it out the file. So because we've only created one file in this logs folder, that's why it's showing us this feedback.txt. So yeah, that's it. So let's try another one. So now if a feedback file is no longer needed and you want to delete it, so you can use this method. So file system dot unlink, yeah, unlink sync. So for this, let's create a file. So I'll be calling the file old old file dot text. Okay, yeah, so that's it. So let's say we want to delete it. So old file dot text. So yeah, so let's console log that. So let's use an emoji for this. So Windows period. So trash can because we are deleting. Sorry guys, this is just for yeah. So that is it. So it's been so files deleted. Okay, so let's try that. So what we're expecting is for this to delete this file over here. So this is useful when cleaning up old unnecessary files. So yeah, as you can see, it just gone like that. So it has deleted it. So let's try another one. So and after cleaning up the files, you might want to delete the empty directory. So for that, we'll be using this rm directory sync. So file system dot. So this time, so the other one we deleted the file. So this time we're going to be deleting a folder. So yeah, so let's name our folder old folder. So old. So yeah, so we're going to be console logging. So file folder removed. So yeah, so what's wrong? So no such file like on link. Okay, because of this on link, so we're not going to be needing it. So let's just so yeah, as you can see, just deleted the old folder. So yeah, that's it. So this rm directory sync is used as we just tested. It's used to delete the directory, old folder, or any folder name that you just want to use. So it does this for deleting a file. So it only works if the directory is empty. So yeah. So in this video, we explored how to use the file system methods in Node.js to interact with files and directories. Directories which is also known as folders. So this methods allows us to use to create, write, and read from files. It also allows us to append new content without overwriting. Lastly, it creates and remove directories which is folders. So by mastering these methods, you can efficiently manage files and data in your web applications. So don't forget to subscribe to the Dev Lab for more tutorials. Thank you so much.